Pruitt-Igoe, USA. St. Louis built 33 identical towers in 1954 to solve their housing crisis once and for all. The Pruitt-Igoe complex won prestigious architecture awards and housed 10,000 residents in modernist glory. 20 years later, the city demolished every single building with controlled demolition while cameras rolled worldwide. What happened between celebration and destruction? Elevators stopped working within months of opening. Skip-stop design meant residents had to climb multiple floors, carrying groceries through dark stairwells. Hallways became unusable after dark because maintenance budgets vanished completely. The city spent more demolishing Pruitt-Igoe than constructing it originally. Architects blamed residents for the decay. Residents blamed architects for impossible design. Everyone blamed the government for neglect. The real failure was stacking thousands of families into concrete towers while providing zero community infrastructure. No shops, no services, no gathering spaces. Modern urbanists call this towers in the park syndrome. Build isolated structures surrounded by empty grass and watch community bonds dissolve completely. Chicago repeated this mistake with Cabrini Green. London copied it with Robin Hood Gardens. The formula fails because humans need streets and accidental encounters to build neighborhoods. Grenfell Tower, UK. London regulators approved flammable cladding on a 24-story residential tower to save money on renovations. In June 2017, a kitchen fire spread across the entire building exterior in under 15 minutes. 72 lives were lost in the tragedy. The cladding savings totaled approximately £2 per square meter compared to fire-resistant alternatives. Building inspectors warned about similar materials for years before the disaster struck. Developers ignored them because regulations lacked real enforcement power. Residents complained about fire safety for months before anything happened. Management dismissed their concerns repeatedly. The inquiry revealed multiple government agencies knew the cladding posed serious risks but avoided updating building codes. Why? Stricter regulations might slow construction industry profits. Thousands of similar buildings across Britain still have dangerous cladding installed today. Removal costs billions, and nobody wants to pay. Grenfell exposed how regulatory capture works in practice. Industries write their own safety standards, then act surprised when catastrophe strikes. Many buildings worldwide still contain these exact same materials today. Robert Moses Highways, USA. One man reshaped New York City more than any elected official in American history. Robert Moses built highways through neighborhoods, housing communities he considered undesirable. The Cross Bronx Expressway displaced 60,000 residents and destroyed stable working-class neighborhoods permanently. Moses designed bridges too low for buses intentionally, preventing public transit access to certain beaches and parks. He never held elected office but controlled billions in construction funds for 40 years. Community opposition meant nothing because Moses answered to no voters whatsoever. The car-centric culture he created allowed for the demolition of Penn Station, one of America's greatest architectural achievements, for a basketball arena basement. The man who shaped modern New York never learned to drive. His highway network creates the traffic jams strangling the city daily. Every hour stuck on the Cross Bronx represents Moses' vision working exactly as designed. Los Angeles copied his approach. Houston embraced it completely. Atlanta built highways through thriving communities following his playbook. American cities still suffer from infrastructure decisions one unelected bureaucrat made decades ago. Haussmann Paris, France, Baron Haussmann, demolished medieval Paris to create the boulevards tourists photograph today. Between 1853 and 1870, workers destroyed 19,000 historic buildings and displaced 350,000 residents from their homes. Napoleon III wanted wide boulevards that artillery could easily control during civil unrest. Haussmann delivered exactly that while claiming public health improvements as justification. The famous boulevards did improve sanitation by replacing cramped medieval alleys. They also made working-class neighborhoods unaffordable overnight. Displaced residents moved to the urban periphery, creating the banlieues that still struggle economically today. Paris became beautiful and segregated simultaneously. The renovation pioneered urban renewal as a weapon against the poor disguised as progress. Every city that demolished neighborhoods for highways followed Haussmann's template. Clear undesirable populations, build something impressive, celebrate transformation while ignoring displacement. Modern Paris still debates whether Haussmann saved or destroyed their city. Three Gorges Dam, China. China built the world's largest hydroelectric dam and displaced 1.3 million people to accomplish it. The Three Gorges project flooded 13 cities, 140 towns, and 1,350 villages beneath a reservoir stretching 600 kilometers. Engineers promised clean energy and flood control for generations. They delivered environmental catastrophe instead. The reservoir weight triggered earthquakes in a region that rarely experienced seismic activity before construction. Landslides along the reservoir banks now threaten communities that survived initial flooding. Sediment that once fertilized downstream farmland accumulates behind the dam uselessly. The Yangtze ecosystem collapsed as migratory fish populations crashed completely. Species that survived millions of years were pushed to the brink of extinction. The dam generates impressive electricity statistics officials love citing publicly. Those numbers exclude agricultural losses, earthquake damage, and ecosystem destruction. They definitely exclude the 1.3 million people who lost ancestral homes for a concrete wall. Chinese officials now admit the project created problems they never anticipated. Aral Sea, USSR. Soviet central planners decided Central Asia should grow cotton instead of food crops. They diverted rivers feeding the Aral Sea to irrigate desert farmland across Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Within 40 years, the fourth largest lake on Earth shrank to 10% of its original size. Fishing communities that sustained themselves for centuries found boats stranded in desert sand. The exposed seabed contained decades of pesticide runoff that wind now spreads across the region. Respiratory illness rates skyrocketed in communities breathing toxic dust storms constantly. Salt concentrations in remaining water eliminated fish populations entirely. The cotton never generated the agricultural wealth Soviets projected. Chemical-intensive farming depleted soil quality within decades. Former fishing villages became the poorest communities in Central Asia. International efforts partially restored the northern section in Kazakhstan. The southern section remains abandoned to desert. Satellite images comparing 1960 to today show humanitarian catastrophe visible from space. Central planning eliminated an entire sea because bureaucrats wanted cotton statistics. Love Canal, USA. Hooker Chemical buried 21,000 tons of toxic waste in an abandoned canal near Niagara Falls during the 1940s and 1950s. The company sold the land to the local school board for $1 with explicit warnings about buried chemicals underneath. The school board built an elementary school directly on the waste site anyway. Developers constructed hundreds of homes around the school because land was cheap. Residents noticed strange odors and severe skin irritations for years before anyone investigated seriously. Basement walls oozed mysterious substances that corroded metal fixtures completely. Health issues appeared in patterns matching buried waste locations exactly. President Carter declared Love Canal a federal emergency in 1978, the first time that designation applied to a non-natural disaster. Hundreds of families evacuated permanently from their homes. Their properties sat abandoned for decades, too contaminated for habitation. The Superfund cleanup program exists today because Love Canal demonstrated that toxic waste follows innocent people home. Many neighborhoods worldwide sit on forgotten industrial history. Chernobyl, USSR. Soviet engineers built nuclear reactors with fundamental design flaws and then disabled safety systems to run unauthorized experiments. On April 26, 1986, Reactor 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, releasing radioactive contamination across Europe. The Soviet government initially denied anything significant had occurred. Swedish monitoring stations detected radiation before Moscow acknowledged the disaster publicly. Evacuation of nearby Pripyat took 36 hours, despite immediate danger to 50,000 residents living there. The exclusion zone covers 2,600 square kilometers of permanently abandoned territory today. Entire cities sit frozen in 1986, too contaminated for habitation decades later. Agricultural restrictions still affect regions across Europe where fallout contaminated soil. The disaster demonstrated how centralized planning hides problems until catastrophic failure becomes unavoidable. Engineers knew the reactor design had weaknesses. Bureaucrats suppressed concerns because admitting flaws would embarrass the state. The same dynamics that eliminated the Aral Sea created Chernobyl. Information flowed upward slowly, while orders flowed downward immediately. Like this video if you want more urban planning stories, and subscribe for weekly content exploring how design shapes our world.